Every country has their own gods. We have Alexander the Great in Macedonia, Queen Elizabeth in England, Simon Bolivar in Venezuela. I bet you even haven't heard the last person I said. That's because people don't give a damn about my people and their history. So because of that, I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you what independence truly means. In order to do all of that, I have to start with a country named Haiti. The Haitian Revolution is the single most successful slave rebellion in the world. Yeah, you heard right. The goddamn world. The Haitian people were ruled by the French, or better known as the smelly people. But you gotta give the smelly people props for something. Their revolution is what sparked the idea of the Haitian people to rebel. The relationships during this rebellion between slave and slave owners were quite violent. I mean, they're slaves. Would you want to be enslaved? I would be quite violent. So that didn't go too well. But back in France, the French National Assembly promised the mulattoes that they have the same rights as white people. Same rights. It's a funny concept. It didn't pan out. But then this rebellion quickly rose up, and it was led by a former slave named Toussaint L'Ouverture. It's quite a name, I know. The slaves and the mulattoes banded together against their white colonial masters. And this rebellion was also backed up by French officials who also supported the revolution back in France. Then in 1793, slavery was abolished. Woo! Toussaint also became governor-general of Haiti for life, and France was like, oh no, this makes me look bad. So in 1802, Napoleon sent an army to capture Toussaint back to France, and that's where he died. But France also found itself at war with Great Britain, so France said screw colonization, left that side of the world alone. Them people truly know how to do revolution because Haiti was free. The next revolution I'm going to talk about isn't quite as violent as the Haitian, and this one happens to be about the Brazilians. So, when you think about Latin America, you usually think about the Spanish control since most of the continent speaks Spanish. But the Brazilians were actually controlled by the Portuguese. The Creoles there wanted to keep what they had and also want to achieve independence from the Peninsulares. This revolution, and just about every other revolution and every other war at the time, had to do something with Napoleon. That Napoleon didn't like his own goddamn business. So when he took over Portugal, he made the royal family go to Brazil and spend a nice vacation there. But they were actually in exile. But let me tell you this. This royal family actually adored Brazil. They loved it there. And so they stayed there. But when Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo, Portugal was free. So the Portuguese were wondering where their king were. They were saying, hey, King of Portugal, where are you at? You need to come back and govern us. And so he did go back. And he left his son behind. By the way, his son is named Pedro. Then, Brazilians were thinking to themselves, wow, we're actually quite different from the Portuguese. And so they decided to form a party to lobby for independence. And they also convinced Pedro to become king of big old Brazil and not just prince of small Portugal. And he agreed. He's like, wow, yeah, king, this is cool. So thus the beautiful nation of Brazil was born. I need to mention the Mexicans because they started all this revolution business. It all began with Napoleon when he planted his brother on the Spanish throne in 1801. His brother wanted to use the ideas of the French Revolution, and this didn't make the Peninsulares too happy. All they wanted was good monarchy and a strong church. So the Creoles saw this as a wonderful opportunity to gain some power against their elite. So these Creoles affirmed their loyalty to the new king, who was French but ruled Spain. Makes perfect sense. Then there were two peasant revolts led by priests named Hidalgo and Father Morales. First, these peasant revolts weren't really successful in the terms of getting somewhere until the Spanish throne was actually ruled by a Spaniard who wanted to limit the church's powers. So the elites who were actually originally against the Creoles switched sides because the church was very important to Latin Americans during the day, and they also wanted to hold their privileges. So a Creole and a Mestizo general banded together and won independence against Spain. Yay, Spain is no longer in control of Latin America. Now we have gotten to the revolution of my own people, the Venezuelans. It's interesting, so let's begin. Right. So Venezuelans had a lot of well-trained Creole revolutionaries, and in 1811 they have formed the Revolutionary Junta. It seized power in Caracas and formed a republic. But Venezuela also had a middle part to it, and that was controlled by the people named Llaneros, who were mixed-race cowboys and people who supported the king. They didn't allow the Caracas revolutionaries to extend their power inland. But this is where the man comes in. Of course you know who I'm talking about. His name is Simon Bolivar. He looked around and knew the only way to overcome this class issue was to unite through a common cause. And this was the fact that they were all South American. They were born. Bolivar then convinced the Llaneros to stop fighting for Spain and fight against them. His forces took Bogota, Caracas, and Quito all by 1822. Oh, yeah. I also have to mention that San Martin of Rio de la Plata was also really important to freeing Latin America from Spain for good. He led an army in Santiago, Chile. He also led his army to Peru and drove the Royalists out of power. Also in 1822, the armies of San Martin and Bolivar actually joined forces. It was practically an all-star army with two great generals at its lead. But the two disagreed on the political future of Latin America. Martin believed in monarchies, while Bolivar wanted a republic for Latin America. Finally, in 1824, at the Battle of Ayacucho, the Revolutionary Army crushed Spain. Finally, Latin America was freed from Spanish control.